welcome back and welcome to Election Central Brantford. Or Brantford, any which way you want to do it. Let's try that again. Election Central Brantford. And with our guest, Alex. Alex from the NDP. Right on. Thank you for coming out.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Stephen.
Welcome. Yes. So, you're on the campaign trail. It's happening. It's going on. I've seen you and met you in the last 2.5 years going through all the different civic engagements that are going around town. So it's been a real joy to talk with you and all that.
You as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So, tell us about yourself. What's you doing? What's going on besides just the election stuff? What else is going on? Because you got a family that you maintain,
that's right,
and everything else that you're doing. It's like a woman of power, on fire. Go for it. So, how's it all going for you?
It's going wonderfully well.
That's good.
I'm really happy to be able to be here talking to you about this because I've got a dynamite family, and I'm so proud to be raising my kiddos with my lovely husband Tim here in Brantford. I've got 2 little boys who are 2 and 6 years old, and they are just having such a blast getting out to all these community events with us and really meeting new people. And they're such social little bugs, just like their mom, probably, that we've been having a lovely time as a family. Yeah.
So the terrible twos is not setting in?
Do you know what? My little Leo, who's 2, is just such a sweetheart that you know what, knock on wood, now that you've said it, we're going to start next week.
Not wood.
But they're both such sweethearts, so we're really blessed.
Oh, that's great. And like you said, they're having a great time. So how is it that you're seeing their interaction? Like what's happening with them? You're seeing them grow right in the moment of your eyes when you're out there doing stuff?
Well, it's such a gift because I get to be the example for them of being engaged in our community, not just in terms of politics, although that's certainly a value in our family, but also being out there and experiencing different cultures within our riding and meeting our neighbors. And when we see a need, we're able to help out, right? Because volunteering is something that my parents taught me about, the importance of, and to this day, they're both very active in the community, and it's something that I'm proud to be sharing with my children. It feels really good because we all have a part to play in meeting the needs of those who are less fortunate, and that's what politics is for me. It's another way to give back and serve the community. And also with my small business, because not only do I have this lovely family, but I'm a small business owner too. And that was a wonderful journey I started about 7 years ago here in Brantford, because I saw a real need for some help because people were struggling with too much stuff or looking to downsize. And our seniors don't always have family around who can help. Or sometimes, you know what families are like, there may be issues within the family where they don't improve during stressful situations. So I started Alex the Organizer as a way to be able to help people in their homes and in their small businesses as well, deal with the excess clutter, teach them skills so that they could maintain their spaces, so that they could focus more time on doing what they want to do.
And I totally get that because the caregiving with my folks, I tell you, the stuff that I've been finding in drawers and things like that, all I keep on thinking is, man, I should hire somebody to help me organize all this stuff because, like, really, I think I posted on Facebook. Remember, I don't know if you saw it, but I had, what's that seasoning? The soy sauce. I found a bottle of soy sauce from Byway. From Brantford Byway. Like, that was when the Brantford Mall used to be all one mall. The arcade used to be there. Funtown Arcade, I believe it was. The liquor store used to be across the way from that. Byway was around the corner, and I was digging through something. I was like, oh my gosh, like $1.44 at Byway. That was
it may be time to purchase new condiments if your condiments came from Byway. This is something we would suggest is you read the expiry dates and live within them for the health and safety of everyone.
But that shows you, like, they've lived in the house for as long as I've been alive. So they bought the house when I was
30
born.
30 years?
Absolutely. 30 years going on 40. So, but yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? They've been living there all their time and going through all the stuff, like sorting things out, just to get it decluttered. It's like, wow, I really get why there's a need.
Absolutely, and
that.
it's so gratifying to be able to help people because whenever you ask someone,
That's
what's the most important thing in your life? It's never a thing. It's always people, their loved ones.
Yeah.
And so when a basement is too full to make sure you've got room to have the family over, we help people live in line with their values of people first.
Yes.
And that, again, I can't help but relate that back to my political life because that's what we do in our party, in the NDP, people before profits. Right?
Wow.
People are the most important, and so it's a very natural kind of evolution for me to be in this role.
That's a lovely statement, very strong. I like that, yeah. Because like even just my cousins and my babcia, when she was going into the home to get some care, everything, like I just remember all the clutter and all the stuff that we had to go through. You don't know it until it happens, and since it's happened a couple of times in my family, it's like, holy geez, we really get that,
Well, I feel for people because
Like you said, when
especially
they don't have somebody to do it, I really get it.
especially if you just suffered a loss
Yeah.
and now you're grieving, but then you need to deal with the estate. It couldn't come at a worse time. And especially if you're trying to decide, how do we honor the memory of our babcia? What do we do to choose the things that were important to her, that are important to you, to have in your home, if your home is already also full of stuff, right? And every shelf is full. So
I get that.
we support people in making those choices. So that's been a real gift for me.
Yeah, and clearing the space is really great, and that always makes everybody happier when you got the space cleared up, and that's perfect. So, all right, now, and our Polish connection, yes, your last name. So give us a little tidbit about your last name.
That's right. So my last name is Felsky, and my dad's side of the family, because I kept my maiden name when I got married, has been in Canada for several generations.
Nice.
But you never forget the recipe for cabbage rolls that have been handed down. I mean, talk about priorities, Stephen. Let's talk about the food connection to the homeland, right?
Totally got it.
And that smell, that's comfort food, right? That is what you need when you're not feeling well, or for family dinners.
Yes. And speaking of which, we do have the lunch that's being served right now, and as we're talking about it, I'm smelling the food, and I'm like, oh, you're so right. We should be having a luncheon right now, just filming the luncheon.
That is a good plan. Let's do that next time.
Absolutely, we will. All right, so we're going to move forward, and we've got our questions ready for you, and we're going to ask them now. So, all right, you guys ready? I'm ready. You ready? Matt's ready. Oh, got the thumbs up. Very good. Okay, question number 1. What inspired you to run in the riding of Brant?
So, I, first of all, have to say, shamelessly, I love Brant. I love Brantford. I love all of the communities in our riding because I came here on purpose, right? I chose to move to Brantford to start my family and to start my business. And there's nowhere else in the world I'd rather be. And I say this because sometimes people don't have such complimentary things to say about our communities when they grew up here, because sometimes you need a fresh pair of eyes to see all of the beauty and wonder. I mean, we've got the Grand River. We've got now Harmony Square, which is such a great place for families to gather. We have a thriving downtown that continues to grow. We have all of the beautiful farmlands in the county and Six Nations, which is just, all of this culture and heritage that, we have so much to be proud of here. And it can only get better, right? Because we know that when we have people who are passionate and doing really good things, this is my friend Lucas Duguid who said that, we're big enough to make things happen, but we're small enough to care. And that resonates with me.
Oh, that's beautiful. Good quote. Way to go. And tip to the hat to Lucas. Very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really know that we can do better for people in terms of affordability. Yeah. When I look at my little boys and I see what are we going to see for their future in terms of, are there going to be good jobs for them? Are there going to be opportunities? If we send them to university or college, is that going to be a worthwhile investment? Because so many people right now are doing what they're told. Okay, you're going to go to school, you're going to get an education, and that means your life is going to be set. What we know is happening is people go to university, just like a young couple I met on the doorstep actually just this week, who said, okay, well, we went to school, together. They've got nearly $60,000 worth of debt.
Right.
and they're having to live in Sarah's mom's basement because all they can find is service industry work, and that's not going to be paying down their student loans. So it's a real concern, and that's why, when our leader, Andrea Horvath, said, you know what, we need to freeze tuition rates. We're already paying incredibly high tuition in Ontario, and we need to make student loans interest-free. And that way people can actually ever afford to consider buying their own home, moving out on their own, starting families. And it ties back into job creation because, of course, there need to be these jobs for people. Because when you get stuck in a loop of, well, you're applying for this job in your field, but you need experience. How can you possibly get the experience when you can't get the job? And so it's that vicious cycle.
Yeah. Lived it, been through it.
That's a real challenge, right? And we know that this record high debt is going to keep people down. And it's not just about young people, because their parents, their grandparents are oftentimes sacrificing and potentially jeopardizing their own retirements to support their adult children. And I love my kids, but I hope they can eventually afford to move out, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I absolutely agree.
So I just know we can do better for people in Brant with NDP policies, and that's why I'm running.
Right on. So your inspiration is, once again, making sure that the family unit's taken care of, that there's jobs for everybody to be out there, or, creating their own jobs or their own networking and all that. Is there anything else you want to add about what inspires you besides just that, or is that it?
Well, it's a sense, I think, at the heart of it is a sense of social justice. That for people who are struggling, I just don't believe that in a community as prosperous as ours and as growing and bubbling as ours is, that it's okay that there are children down the street who are going to school without any breakfast in their bellies. That's not okay, and that's something that can be addressed. I know that there are people making tough choices in our community. I was speaking with a senior named Sandra that she said, I need new glasses to see. My old prescription no longer works, but I can't afford them. So either I do that or I pay my rent. Well, that means she's not able to read anymore. She's not able to watch television, and she's already been isolated enough with this long winter. That's just not right. Yeah,
and where's the living in dignity part, right?
That's right. The part. Especially seniors who've worked their whole lives deserve to retire with dignity.
Absolutely.
And I just don't accept that, we don't have any resources to help people with making sure they can see, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Awesome, thank you. All right, we're on to question number 2. Question number 2 is, if elected, what would you like to have your legacy be?
That's a great question. That's something that I think a lot about. I just know that right now our community seems to be getting the short end of the stick. We know that all of the walk-in clinics over the past several years have closed down. And that means that people who need care for their ailing parent or for their sick child need to go to the emergency department. If you need care on a Friday night, a Saturday, a Sunday, even for families who have a physician, you can't always get an appointment right away. They might be on holiday, and we know that it's so hard to find a family doctor, that we need, as Canadians, this is a core value that, as we were talking about earlier, our ancestors fought for our rights. And one of those Canadian values that we all hold so dear is access to health care.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, families are going without. We know the only option to see a doctor right now, if you don't have your own doctor, is in Paris at the Willett Urgent Care.
Right.
Now, for people who don't drive, that's a $70 round trip cab ride because there's no public transit between Paris and Brantford.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought of it like that. Wow.
And so it's especially concerning because nobody can afford that. And that's another way we want to make life more affordable for people, is to know that when people need to be seen, they can see a doctor in a timely fashion. Because on average in Ontario, there's a 10-hour wait time in emergency rooms. And when you think about how you feel so terribly sick, and we've all been there, either on our own or helping out a friend or a family member, sitting for 10 hours is not feasible, and it's not right.
Yeah,
And
agree.
I just don't accept that we don't have money for frontline workers like nurses, which we so desperately need, when we're paying our CEOs huge amounts of money. And that's why in the NDP we're saying we need to cap those public sector CEO salaries, and we need to do away with bonuses because we think our families deserve better.
Totally agree. So your legacy would be to bring back the stronger, healthy, vibrant healthcare system. That's what you're looking to do as your legacy, to bring that
Well,
right back,
you know,
and then the
that's
comfortability for people to be able to use it,
Yeah.
and then have it so that our seniors and all that can,
So that's certainly one thing. I mean, we want to see a community that's putting people first, that
Yeah.
makes sense, that doesn't take people's tax dollars for granted. Because overall people are feeling disappointed with the current government because they make really great promises and then they fail to deliver again and again and again. And it's so disheartening for people. And that gets back to the question of, well, why are people disaffected and not so interested in participating in the political process? And that's one of the reasons that we do need to see this positive change, right? It's finally time. And I hear that every day on the doorsteps, that universally people are ready to see change and they're really excited about the change that
Absolutely.
Andrea Horwath and the NDP can bring. And it's so motivating for me personally when I speak to a typical Liberal voter and they say, how big an orange sign can you get from my front yard? And that's just so wonderful that,
Yeah.
you know, it's just another example of how people are ready for that change.
and your picture looks great on there, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's like, hey, there you are. Well, I know what you look like, and I can vote for you.
That's right.
Excellent. All right. So, question number 3: what can you say to our viewers right now to inspire them to get out and vote?
Well, look, we know when people stay home and they don't vote, we get the same results that we have always gotten. You know, it's so important. Everybody who has the right to vote, use their right, because we're ready to see change, but unless people participate, we're not going to see that change. And Andrea Horwath and I and the NDP team have a great plan that's going to make life more affordable, bring back good local jobs. None of these temp agency work can support families. And there are so many abuses in the system. And so we've got a real plan for that. And we want to make hydro rates more affordable. We want to make auto insurance more affordable. And we want to bring change that's really going to make sense for families. So I hope that you can come and visit me on Facebook. You can type in Alex Felsky, or even on Twitter, connect at Alex Felsky. Or alexfelsky.ca. And people have lots of options to come out and join the excitement, and we've got a lot of momentum. We're always looking for more volunteers to help out, to push us over the top. The campaign office is located at 1100 Clarence Street South in Unit 103B. And our phone number is 519-751-9111. So anybody who'd like a lawn sign of their very own or who'd like to help out, please get in touch.
Perfect. Wow, that was great. You really kind of did all that all in one scoop. That's awesome. On behalf of myself and Matt from Panda Studios and the Polish Hall on Pearl Street, we want to thank you very much for coming out and joining us and doing this and communicating with the constituents and the people of Brant and Brantford. It's really awesome. Is there any last things you would want to say to us before you leave? What do you want to leave us with? What's your last moment?
On June 12th, please support me. I need your help to make sure we can have a government that's going to work for the citizens of Brant and Ontario to make life more affordable. On June 12th, please help me make positive change by voting for Alex Felsky.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
we
you so much,
appreciate it.
Stephen.
Yeah. And have a great time out there.
Thank you.
We look forward.
It's been a wonderful reception. And we're